So we've known each other for a long time, and I always thought I would love for you to speak at Datasphere, but to be honest, I was a bit shy to ask. It's a bit difficult to ask people that I've known, because if you tell me no, I will take it so personally. So yeah, I'm petty like that. So that's why I didn't ask. So I was very happy when your friend Acheng sent me, she slipped into the DMs of Datasphere and said, Rosemary should speak, she should tell her story. Then I called you, you see I had an in. And then I called you and you said yes. And I was like, yes, Rosemary's speaking. So welcome to the Datasphere stage.
Thank you.
So I want to dive right into it. What made you run for office? I want to start there.
Well, I used to do a lot of work in the community in Kibra.
Mm-hmm.
I ran a foundation, an NGO, and we set up a school in Kibra. So then I interacted with the community for very, very many years. And in that process, the family walking around and doing all of that stuff, my brother was looking to run for office.
Your brother Fidel.
Yeah, my older brother Fidel. But then we all know what happened to Fidel. For those who don't know, my brother passed away. So then the community came and they said, we want you to run for office.
Okay.
Because they had seen the work that I was doing within the community, so they came to me and asked me to step up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There's a pivotal moment during his funeral. I remember watching you and thinking, I can't believe she's actually going to speak. And you did more than speak. What was that like?
Well, it was a mix of emotions, because there you are, you've lost your brother, then you have the whole entire country, if not the whole entire world, beaming in to watch this ceremony. So for me, I said, it's much easier for me to talk about who Fidel was to me.
Okay.
At the time. So that's when I said it's easier to talk about who he was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think that's when people even knew, oh, he has a sister. Oh, there's a brother. Oh, there's other people in the family, yes. So.
Okay. And then you sang. I didn't even know you could sing.
No, I can't sing. But it was Bob Marley.
Yes.
And that was his favorite artist, was Bob Marley. So I sang my own version of Redemption song.
Uh-huh.
And what was so interesting is, as I was singing the song, the crowd was singing along with me.
Mm-hmm.
So they helped me get through that presentation.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And then out of that, a politician was born.
Accidental politician.
Okay. So then you decide to run for office. What was that like?
Well, it's a mix of emotions, because, just though you introduced me,
Mm-hmm.
about people knowing my father, so it was a mix of emotions, because now I am not my father.
Okay.
I will never be my father, so I had to show them who I was.
Okay.
And present what it was I felt that we could work together with them to do for the community. So it was about opening yourself, your vulnerability, and then also listening to different views, and it was interesting. It was like all the emotions you can imagine.
I would imagine when you're Raila Odinga's daughter, you say, Dad, I want to run for office. There's a machinery. Like you just plug in. We know what to do. You know what I mean? Is that what it was like?
For me, I actually had to build my own machinery.
What do you mean?
Separate from his machinery.
Oh.
Yeah, because you see, he has his people.
Mm-hmm.
And they will operate and they understand each other for years.
Okay.
So I actually had to build my own team based on what I felt that we could do together.
Uh-huh.
So it was interesting because there are young people in the community who did not have access to him, right? So then they saw a gap.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, because now we can reach Rosemary, so it was much easier for them to reach. And then we were just a little few years older than them.
Okay.
So then we could relate with each other. So it was actually a very new experience for all of us, for them and for me as well.
Even though had you ever been on the campaign trail, like with your dad? Had you ever done that before?
I had started in my grandfather's campaign trail.
So you see what I mean when you plug into the Odinga machinery. Okay.
Campaign trail, and then there was, of course, my father's campaign trail. In fact, I think I ran one of his communications. Had to tell me, you need to change the way you're dressing. So could you talk to a new crowd of people who've never voted before?
Okay.
And they need to know who you are. So we had to change his style of dressing.
Okay.
Plug one or a few things and how he talks and everything. And surprisingly, that it actually resonated. But not change who he was.
Just the communication style.
Just the communication style, depending on where he's going.
Okay. So you're on the campaign trail and you've decided you're running, you want to be MP of Kibra. When did you realize something was off with you?
Well, I'd been having a lot of headaches, right? Severe headaches, and I would take Panadol, painkillers. But then this time it had gotten too much, right? And I was actually on a working holiday, a training for women leaders. I was working. My children are on holiday.
Your two girls.
My two girls.
Okay.
So it was a working holiday.
Where?
In Naivasha.
Okay. Then what happened?
So in Naivasha, the headaches were too much. Then I think one night when they were going for dinner, I said, no, I can't go with you guys. I'll just spend sleeping, and then tomorrow I'll wake up. So the next morning, there was a knock on the door. When I could hear the lady on the other side of the door, the nanny. So when I got up, I struggled to go to the door. And when I unlocked the door and opened it, I don't know, it was like a stroke of luck. Because for some reason, she was still on the other side of the door. Okay. So when I opened the door, I collapsed onto her.
Right onto her.
Onto her. That's now when she realized something was wrong. She walked me back to the room, put me down to lay down, and my older daughter rushed to go and say, hey, there's something wrong at the reception. There's something wrong. My mom's not well. Then luckily they jumped into action, came with an ambulance, and took me to the clinic.
Okay. And she was 11 at the time?
Yes, my daughter at the time.
Okay. Was she 10 or 11?
She's 13 now, so she was 11 then.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then they take you to a clinic in Naivasha?
The doctor at the clinic says, she's not doing so well. So then he says, he thinks that we should drive to Nairobi with an ambulance. Then I said, no, the headache is too much. I don't think I can survive. So I asked to call my mom. And luckily, I found my mom. She's a very busy lady. Okay. So I found her, and then I gave the phone to the doctor. He told her the situation, and then through the ambulance, they were able to come get me, air ambulance, to lift me, to bring me to Nairobi.
Okay. So you went to Nairobi Hospital?
Went to Nairobi Hospital, and then eventually they said this surgery could only be done at that time could be done at Aga Khan. So then I went to Aga Khan, and they did the tests. Then they did a brain surgery. Then after that, they noticed that there was a tumor, but we had been in surgery for too long. They said they could not tackle the tumor.
At this point, why the surgery? What was the surgery for?
They wanted to remove an aneurysm.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So in removing the aneurysm, they find a tumor, but they don't have time to operate.
They don't.
Okay.
They said it's too small at the time.
Okay. Then what?
Then we wrap up. I'm taken in for what do you call it? For recovery. And I think it is during the recovery where I suffered the stroke.
Oh, you had a stroke?
Yes.
Okay. What happened with the stroke? we like to imagine we know what a stroke is, right? But what happens with a stroke?
The stroke, but then I also went into a coma.
Okay.
So I think while in the coma is when the stroke occurred.
Okay.
Yes. So what happened is when I came to, I'd lost my memory.
Mm-hmm.
I had lost part of my vision.
Okay.
My left side was what was affected.
Mm-hmm.
Luckily, I'm right-handed.
Such an optimist. Okay.
Yeah, so I'm able to do some of things for myself, and then also affected my speech.
Okay.
Yes.
So then you were taken to South Africa for physiotherapy.
Yes.
Okay.
I did physio. So in South Africa, I was able to start saying a few words, speaking, and then using my other senses to communicate with people.
Did you have to relearn how to speak?
Yes, because when I was in the coma and I came through, I couldn't speak.
At all? Zero?
Yeah. So everything that I do today, I've had to learn.
In the last 2 years?
Again. So I had to learn how to start talking. I had to learn how to start communicating, how to start eating, and also how to walk.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And swim. I do swim. Yes.
I think it's amazing that all your languages. So Rosemary the other day was telling me off because apparently as a Nairobian, I should be able to say hello in how many languages?
I told her as a Nairobian, because it's the capital city, you should say at least hello in 5 different local languages.
Okay. I can do
Or 3.
I think I can do Kikuyu, Luo, and Murembe in Luya. I think that's it. I think I'm stuck after. Oh, in Tigrinya, I can say Kamelohi. Oh, Chamge. Okay. Ronald, I should know this. Ronald is Rotich, so I should know this from my team. Okay. So all this came back, and you had to work for it.
Yeah, I did. I had to work for it. So partly is now the people around us. At that time when there were obviously many laws in the vicinity, and so they would speak it, and then I would vicariously start hearing the language, then start speaking the language. And I remember my sister says a joke is like, there's a time I would just only speak in Spanish.
Oh.
She said, speak in Spanish, speak in Spanish.
Did
like,
you?
Yes.
Where did you learn Spanish?
I don't know Spanish. I mean, the little Spanish that I know is just passing Spanish, but they said that that's also part of normal, where you find someone, okay, not normal, but they've had cases where people speak a language they've never spoken before.
Oh, so as your brain is resetting, it finds information you didn't know you had.
Yeah, and I think it was maybe watching those like in a Wild Rose and all these things.
Okay. So in South Africa, there's something you told me the other day that cracked me up. You were very enmeshed in your campaign. So you're in South Africa, you're going through physio, and
Yes.
then something popped up.
Oh, this is even before the physio. When I'm in South Africa, still in the stroke, then I'd even ask for my phone. Then I'd also have like a guest come to see me, and I say, remove your notepad and your pen and paper. And then they remove their notepad, and I'd give them instructions. When we're going to Kibra tomorrow, I want you to call so-and-so, and so-and-so, and so-and-so. And then also, there are times when someone would come and visit me and find that I'd start giving a speech. I'm in the middle of the rehab center.
So you're speaking to 2 nurses at this point?
And I'm speaking to the masses. I'm talking to my constituents in Kibra. I'm like, sasa kesho tutakuja na tutafanya hili. So I was still in campaign mode. So I'm talking to the different groups of people. So I was still very much unaware that things have changed.
Things have changed.
Yeah.
So after South Africa, then you went to Israel.
Yes.
This was for the more physical part of the therapy?
Yes, so physical. So when I had come back, I could speak a little bit from South Africa, but I could not walk.
Okay.
Yes, so when I went to Israel again, that's when I learned how to walk, to move physically now. So each place I've been to, I've learned something new. I've developed the new skill.
So what did you learn in China? Because after Israel, then China.
Now, when I went China 1, and there's China 2.
Oh.
Yeah.
So China 1?
So China 1 is where they actually did the brain surgery again. So they cut off. That's when they found out there's another tumor. Sorry, not another tumor. They found out there's another aneurysm. Oh. So they did what they call 3-in-1.
Okay.
So one aneurysm had burst. So they had to drain out the fluid.
Uh-huh.
Then they clipped 2 aneurysms. Plus now they got the tumor.
The tumor that had first been identified here, but was small.
And they also realized that it had grown. In fact, the doctor had said that, we need this patient to come in immediately. Then I said, no. China, it is cold, it is winter time. I'm not interested in coming.
Are you being serious?
Yeah, and I was like,
you have a tumor growing, but you're like, let's wait for summer. I need sunlight.
Yeah, I said, let us go when it is warmer. And then they said, hey, do you know what a tumor is? Do you know what an aneurysm is? He said, it's like a bomb in the head. He said, if this patient comes now, I can operate tomorrow. If not, I'm not responsible for what will transpire.
Okay.
So I think that was a wake-up call.
Okay.
I had to go for the...
So that was China 1?
That was China 1.
Then what was China 2?
China 2, we're hoping to see if we can revive my eyesight. So China 2 is when I went and they did acupuncture and some serum that they were poking all over. Poking.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did it get better?
Well, their hope was for me to stay the same or improve.
Okay.
So with all those acupuncture and poking, I think what they did is they gave me the confidence to work with what I already have.
Okay. When something like this happens, you're a young woman, you've got a young family, your girls are 13 and 5. Did you ever scream at God, get angry, like, why me? What is this?
In the beginning, I was, of course, very confused also. And I was so angry. I was just like, why is this happening to me? When will it get better? Will I ever go back to being the same again? And
right.
You know, you have moments when you're very weak, you'd cry. And then there's no one else that I'd ever met like me.
Right.
So I cannot say that, even Valentine went through this, so tomorrow I can be better. So it was very lonely, and then also trying to talk to, my family and friends around so that they can try and understand. They've never been through it. Yeah, it was new for all of us.
Okay. So what keeps you going? In that moment, we've all been in the gym lifting some impossible weight, and you're looking for something in you to push through, but this is, of course, way bigger than the gym. What keeps you going?
The fact when I wake up, like even today I woke up, I said, hiya, I'm still here. Yeah, so for me, every morning is a shock moment that I'm still here.
Okay.
And I said, which means that did not leave this world during the night. And I said, that means God still has a purpose for me.
Okay.
That's why he has not called me back home yet.
Okay.
So I wake up every morning and I say, okay, God, what are we going to do today? And today we're supposed to be at Dada Sphere. So here I am.
Okay. I'm glad you're sharing your story because, like you're saying, you don't have a mentor, you don't have somebody else you can talk to, but someone will watch you and think, Rosemary's doing it. I can do this too.
Yeah.
So thank you for that. So what's it like now with your daughters?
Well, my daughter's like one just recently turned 13. So we're learning the teenage world.
Okay.
But we're doing it together.
Okay. You and Maya both with her 13-year-old son.
Yes, her learning to be a teen and me learning to be the mother of a teen.
Okay.
Yeah, and so sometimes I think, like, come and help me with this. Turn the phone there, turn the phone there. And sometimes she's like, I need you to be the mother. Right? And so I said, okay, so let me be the mother. But when I'm the mother, she's just like, I think she should not be the mother now. Take a break from being the mother. So I think it's it's new for both of us.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I think that's just parenting an adolescent. Yes? Okay, I don't know. My son is 4. We're not there yet. And how is your 5-year-old?
My 5-year-old is actually, she's really a sweet child, very loving. You know, every morning before she goes to school, she has to come knock on my door, say, "Mommy." Sometimes she just comes on my room, turns on music, and starts dancing for me and telling me, "I want to perform for you." So
Sweet.
she's the one person who constantly checks on me or constantly wants me to check on her.
Ah,
Yeah.
okay. So very affectionate. So now you're recreating Rosemary. You've gotten to a point you're like, I can walk again, I can talk again. You're still passionate about Kibra and Kenya. I think I've known this about you since we were kids, that you are patriotic. So what next for you as you're recreating Rosemary?
Well, for me, I always say I'm ready to do what I can for my family, Kenya, and the community at large. So I'm still very passionate about working with young people. Actually started off working with young boys, believe it or not.
Oh.
A mother of girls. Started working out with young boys because there's a school nearby where I worked. And they said, "Can you come and help us?" I said, "Me? What will I do with young boys? I'm a lady, I want to mentor young girls." And they're like, no. They said, "We just need you to care for us."
Oh.
Yeah, just care for us. And funny enough, it was a rugby team.
Okay.
A high school rugby team. So I go there and I find these boys, some of them even taller than me, bigger than me. I know rugby is a really contact sport.
Yes.
Yeah? I was so scared, but then I found out that they're just human beings. And they're the ones.
That sounds so funny.
Yeah, because you always have this preconceived notion that, rugby is a rough game, they're rough. You see them hitting each other and you're just like, I cannot.
Well, apparently rugby is a gentleman's game and football is, what is football? There's a word for it. I don't say hooligan, but what's the word for the rugby is supposed to be a gentleman's game.
Yes, but when I found them, I found they were smart, intelligent young men, and they had ambitions and hopes and desires. And so I said, okay, in school, these are your teachers and everything. So I was the outside voice that was not part of this teaching staff.
Okay. A few years ago, I bumped into you and you were telling me you were growing snails and that people were eating these snails and you were doing big business. Where are the snails?
The snails are still there.
Okay.
Yeah, but obviously, I've not had time to check on them as often as I did back then. Yeah, so looking to start that again.
Okay.
Revive it.
Do you need financial support? Dada by Stanbic, are you listening? So when do you start? Is there a timeline?
I'm still working on my shamba.
Okay.
Trying to do some few things, but then hopefully within the year I will have started it.
Okay. I think I'm very grateful that you've shared your story. I'll confess, I used to be a little bit shy around you. I was like, wow, she's a whole Rosemary Odinga. And in the last 4 or 5 weeks preparing for this talk, I've gotten to see a very humorous, a very warm, and even affectionate side to you. So thank you so much for that. And I really hope after your miraculous recovery that you will, I don't know if you're going to run for office, but do something, because you're very passionate about Kenya and about making a difference. So do something.
I've had.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.